while they're picking, I'll go back in a bit because for the hunter side, it's a bit more easier because onto the first round, the survivors won't be able to ban out a hunter. Second of all, there are tons of options for the hunters here, but here is the catch. The hunter gets to decide the percentage of the win rate of your team. For example, if he gets a clean sweep, there is a higher chance that you could be able to place yourself. But at the same time, it will also depend on the second half of your round. If the survivors team would be able to be on par with the hunter. So now we are going into our drafting phase, in which Team VX will be banning out the Seer, which is no surprise since Seer is one of the top tiers in terms of character play. For the side of IVS, they will be choosing a much more fundamental but at the same time top picks, which is the Mercenary, the Priestess, the Perfumer, and the Mechanic. Let's not forget that the map though will be held at the Sacred Heart Hospital.
Yes, and okay, this is what I'm talking about. COA 3, let's start it off with a bang with one of the newer hunters.
Yes, and that's Mary, the Bloody Queen right here, the recent one of the
Way 2 where you have just this clogging of spiders and rippers. But you know what? I'm going to have to hold off from that because we're going to talk about the present, and the present is right now. First half, round 1 between VX on the hunter side with IVS. But wow!
That was a very early knockdown of that robot for the Mechanic right here. It means that is leaving the Mechanic a bit more options right here for the cooldown of the robot. But going back, looks like the Bloody Queen right here is already spotting out the Mechanic in the early phases of the game. And this is very difficult because the Mechanic is the decoder, the main decoder for the set of team. And now we are seeing the chase is on. Mechanic is already running for its life as he is injured. But the Bloody Queen really closing the gap right here will be having a potential hit and a successful knockdown.
Ooh, Zhao Khan falling a little bit earlier on. That's going to be mission accomplished right now. An early takedown on one of the survivors for 72S, and actually managed to spot out the other one as well. So that doesn't really leave as many options for Zhao Khan anymore.
Yes, definitely. And now we are seeing that the Bloody Queen is having the time of his life by being really patient as to kind of seeing which ciphers are moving right now and to potentially hunt other survivors. But you know, the Mercenary though, on the other hand, will be trying to particularly rescue the Mechanic here because that's really essential, because if she doesn't, Mechanic gives you this kind of debuff in terms of decoding speed, and that was a successful rescue. But going back, the priority is still the survivor. But again, the pallet throw was a success enough to stun Bloody Queen here.
Yes, IVS is back on track, even with the earlier fall of Zhao Khan. Great rescue coming in from Mercenary, plus the other members of IVS hell-bent and intent on making sure that those other ciphers are prepped and ready. So, man, this is really tricky though. Great mechanics coming in from 72S, managing to take down Zhao Khan once there. And back to the rocket chair you go, my friend.
That was a beautiful performance for 72S right there, using the mirrored image instead of using the real image as to hit the survivor. He used his mirror image to actually hit from the behind, and that was a splendid job from him. And now we are seeing that the Bloody Queen is using once more the mirror image so as to just, you know, really shove away the other members of IVS.
Oh man, this is really starting to get interesting here. So Chisa, of course, going to be going in for the rescue once again. That's the beauty, of course, of having a Mercenary to run with. But 72S not going to get the turn in, unfortunately. Pallet timing not good enough as 72S gets that last hit. And I think it's going to be Zhao Khan blasting off as our first survivor off of this round.
Yes, and now we are seeing that the Mercenary, because of the delayed effect, is now knocked down, and of course utilizing the skills of the Bloody Queen here, uses the mirror image to transport into a nearer area for the Mercenary to be picked up, and again off to the rocket chair he goes. And this is a good strategy for 72S, just putting him to a chair farther away from the other members just so he could delay the time them going in towards the Mercenary.
Yes, indeed. Question is, 72S gonna turtle it out a bit more. We'll just go for the defense. Who is gonna try to go for that rescue though? Of course, it will be Perfumer, not definitely the better option in comparison to what IVS has left on the playing field, just because Perfumer has a lot more potential to juke around 72S.
Oh, that was a nice perfume though, just in time to not be fully incapacitated, but the mirror image again will be used this time and the hit will be secured, but the perfumer will have that time to save the mercenary, and the mercenary will be using his mobility to go away. But now looking here, it's like the perfume is being used pretty well, just enough to delay the Bloody Queen, but going here to and fro around his rosies, and finally the knockdown is going to be seen.
Yes, that's a bit unfortunate right there, but it's totally fine. This is going to be the Perfumer's first time on that rocket chair. They still have a lot to work with, still a lot of potential to try to get that three-man out of the gate. But so far, 72S has been doing a great job, lots of patience in making sure that he systematically gets these survivors, whoever he can, bit by bit, definitely not getting deterred. There's never been an idle moment for this hunter.
But you know, you have to take kudos to IVS right here because there's only one more cipher remaining, and Chisa is into the basement though, a little bit tricky here in terms of positioning. But now look at that, Jukes coming in from the mercenary, and with the help of this delayed effect, will be able to go away from the basement. But of course, 72S will know any better and will go to the side of the perfumer, because looking here, it looks like the priestess will be rescuing the friend.
Yes. Of course, with one cipher remaining, IVS definitely has that prepped and ready. Pop it whenever they need to, but that is unfortunate. Mirror image doing a lot of work here.
Yes, and now the perfumer's already knocked down. The mirror image will be able to injure the priestess, but you know what? The 72S says, okay, I'm going to chair you first since this is your second time to be chaired, and if I'm not mistaken, it's already above half the health, so I think it's off to the manor back the perfumer goes. And now the mercenary again is knocked down. This is just patiently a waiting game for 72S, because just looking at the discipline right here, being all patient and not, being a bit more aggressive and a bit too, impatient. And now here, the best thing that the IVS can do here is to really avoid getting into the hands of 72S, which is what he will be doing right now.
Oh man, 72S starting to close in, but oh man, almost right there. Take note, there's already two survivors off the table for the side of IVS. Things are getting much more trickier. Both Mercenary as well as Priestess don't really have the luxury of getting any more hits in ever IVS wants to get out of this first half with just a little bit more better points to work with as they move forward in this best of three.
Yes, but now it looks like 72S has already spotted the Priestess right here. With a close call, was not able to get that normal hit, but this is no issue for 72S since, like what I've said, he's just being patient right now here since there are two members left, and the successful knockdown right here. But still kudos to the Priestess for trying to juke it out.
Yes. Oh man, 72S. Job well done. Okay, just a little bit of a taunt right there, but it's pretty much a good done deal. We have our potential full 5 points for 72S, but wait a minute, no. Chisa actually managing to get that last ditch up.
Oh, but tiptoeing, I think, is not going to be effective anymore since 72S already spotted the location of the mercenary here. Now, the best thing that Chisa can do here is to delay and distract 72S just in time for the Priestess to get that remaining cipher. The portal's going to be used, but will be destroyed immediately by 72S. And now the mirror image is going to get that close hit, but will be teleporting back to that cipher that the Priestess was working on. And now, thanks to that, the knockdown is going to be seen.
Yes, second chance is being taken right here. Luckily, they went for builds that allowed them to get back up on their feet, but that's only a one-time deal. It's really up to Chisa at this point to try to preserve this moment. Great job here from 72S, not really diverting Chisa into a rocket chair anymore, just so that Chisa doesn't have the luxury of going for the dungeon.
Yes, definitely. Looks like 72S is looking for Chisa, but in that close call. But going back right here, the options are the ones remaining is that Priestess is the only one with the self-heal. And now the Mercenary here, if I'm not mistaken, has a syringe and is now self-healing himself. Now this is a game of patience. Now if 72S can catch up to that, I think this is going to be a done deal for him. But for the side of IVS, there is still a chance. If one does the kiting, preferably the Mercenary, since he doesn't have the self-heal anymore. But looking back here, the mirror image was able to incapacitate him. That is a good call and a close call for Chisa, because if he was not in full health, he would have been a knockdown.
Right. Oh, man. Chisa, though, gotta be careful. 72S waiting for that hit, and there you go, just a whack on the head. Of course, Chisa gonna try to buy enough time to separate himself. Will that be plausible, though?
Ooh, I don't think so, Articuno, because the delayed effect is starting to take effect, and 72S just patiently waiting for another chance for that normal hit. And if you guys are seeing right now, that countdown is a sign for that Mercenary to be fully knocked down. And the Priestess right here, I think, is still self-healing. There will still be a chance, but let us see, though, if the Mercenary can still take it. I don't think so.
Oh, man, that was super unfortunate. Of course, 72S at this point, lots of patience. This first half really went quite a number of minutes.
Yes.
But I think, as they say, patience is a virtue, and it does look like 72S will be fully rewarded with all those points, 5 points in
Yes.
total.
And, you know,